A girl accidentally cut her hand, but the next day, the wound sprouted roots. The girl was terrified and hurriedly tried to pull it out with her hand, but the tender shoot had already grown into the flesh. The girl could only endure the excruciating pain and pull it out. To avoid being discovered, she covered the wound with a bandage. Not long ago, a new student had died in the school garden, his body covered in plants. At the time, the police investigated and collected evidence but couldn't find the cause of death. Hearing this, the girl felt very scared. When the girl's roommate returned to the dorm and looked in the mirror, she found green pimples on her face, on both sides, as if some kind of plant was about to emerge from the ground. The roommate was so frightened that she hurriedly grabbed some makeup powder and rubbed it vigorously on her face, trying to cover up the green bumps. Just then, the girl also returned to the dorm, but her roommate had already gone to bed and pulled the curtains. The girl curiously asked what was wrong, but the roommate said she was feeling a bit unwell today. The girl turned off the lights to go to sleep, but at this moment, the roots of the potted plant that had pricked her emitted an eerie glow. Then branches began to grow and spread, instantly covering the girl's bed. The girl suddenly woke up, relieved that it was just a dream. But when she turned to look, her best friend's bed had turned green, and green liquid was constantly dripping. She got out of bed to check and called out to her roommate a few times, but there was no response. She picked up a nearby drying pole and opened the bed curtain, only to see a shocking scene. Her best friend's body was covered in plants. Later, the police sealed off the dormitory. Her boyfriend rushed over to check on her, but as soon as the girl went downstairs, she saw that the entire school was covered in plants, and the students also seemed to be invaded by some kind of plant. Fortunately, her boyfriend woke her up in time, and by then, the school had been completely controlled by the Epidemic Prevention Department. The two followed the crowd to the gymnasium for testing. The person in charge of this epidemic prevention work happened to be the boyfriend's sister. She said that 2 years ago, he had signed a plant DNA recombination project with Professor Huo on behalf of Europe's largest pharmaceutical company. But they soon discovered that Professor Huo's experiments had deviated from scientific research ethics. He was recombining plant DNA with animals, so the project was quickly shut down. However, Professor Huo did not stop there and secretly continued to develop, trying to find a 100% match between plant and human DNA. The roommate was one of the victims, which ultimately led to the virus leak. Upon hearing this, the girl immediately realized that she had been infected and secretly hid. Finally, her boyfriend found her in his dormitory. The girl directly told him about her infection. In addition, he found a place in the roommate's diary where a lighthouse could be seen, which was probably where the professor had tricked the roommate into going for experiments. Just then, the epidemic prevention personnel arrived to check, and the two were forced to go for an examination. As expected, the girl was also confirmed to be infected and was immediately controlled. In order to save his girlfriend, he and his sister found the place where the lighthouse could be seen, hoping to obtain an antidote from Professor Huo. Unfortunately, it seemed that Professor Huo had also died.